I'm sure you're excited to get started writing some mobile apps with Dart and Flutter, but before we dive in face first, I want to give you a quick preview of some of the topics we'll be covering in this course, and also give you a better idea of how the course is organized. Our goal in this course is to learn how to make mobile apps with both Dart and Flutter. Dart is a programming language originally created by Google in 2011. Dart has been used for years internally by Google for building very large web applications. Dart is an object-oriented programming language with a syntax somewhat similar to JavaScript. It has the ability to optionally transpile itself into JavaScript code, but that ability is generally only used when building web applications with Dart, which is not something that we're going to be doing quite so much inside this course. Now, Dart by itself is just a programming language. To actually build mobile apps in this course, we're going to be making use of a framework called Flutter. Flutter allows us to create mobile applications that run on both iOS and Android. Now, making use of Flutter requires solid knowledge of Dart. In other words, if you don't know Dart, you're going to have a tough time getting started with Flutter. So with that in mind, this course is organized to make sure that you get an extremely strong foundation in knowledge of Dart and how the language works. So let's take a look at how we're going to make sure that you have strong knowledge of Dart. Overall, this course is organized into three big arcs. First, we're going to take a look at the Dart programming language and get a better idea of how it works. We'll learn about the syntax of Dart, common design patterns, and how to read official documentation, which is a little bit more challenging than you might think. After we get the basics down, we'll go a little bit deeper with Dart and get more of a sense of its capabilities by building a small project or two and authoring a small open source module together. Finally, after all this Dart intro, we'll then start to dive into building mobile apps with Flutter. You might look at this and be thinking that it's a little crazy to talk so much about Dart without getting into Flutter. I know you're here in this course to build mobile apps, and I'm sure that's what you want to do. But it's important to understand that working effectively with Flutter requires you to have solid knowledge of Dart. If you just dive straight into Flutter, you're going to have a hard time. So with that in mind, you and I are going to first work on our Dart skills, and then we will be able to tackle Flutter with our full attention. And there's one last quick thing I want to mention. Over the span of this course, we're going to be writing code in a variety of different environments and making use of a lot of different sets of tooling. We're going to first begin by getting familiar with Dart by using an online code editor called DartPad. DartPad is a great tool for getting a handle on the language and experimenting with small snippets of code. After that, we'll move on to using a local code editor on our personal machines to work with more advanced Dart projects. Finally, when we get started working with both Dart and Flutter together, we will use our local code editor along with a mobile device emulator that we'll use to test our applications out on our personal device. Okay, so that's a little bit about how this course is going to progress. Let's now continue in the next section, and we're going to start getting a better handle on the Dart language itself.